episode, we are going to continue with our channel creation logic and, pick up right off where we left off in the last episode. And what I want to get to right away is the, setting up the sort of the function that's going to be responsible for creating direct channels for us. And right now we are in the chat partner picker view model, and we have this function called build direct channel, which is where we left off in the last episode. What I really want us to do is to create a sort of more general function that can not only create direct channels, but that can create group channels as well. And so let me comment this out. And I'm going to go right here and I'm going to create a private function. And you see why I'm making it private right now. I'm going to call it create channel. And create channel is going to take in an optional channel name. And it's going to return the same results type. And just to save us some time, I'm going to copy and paste this. Okay. So what do we need in order to be able to create a channel? The first thing that we need is, of course, we need to make sure that the selected chat partners are not empty, because we can't really create a channel if there are no chat partners. So I'm going to say selected chat partner that is empty, else I'm going to return some sort of an error. And so I'm just going to guard against that, because for whatever reason, if this array of selected chat partners is empty, we shouldn't even be getting to this function. But let's just put this in here as a safeguard. Now it's going to yell at us because we need to return some sort of a failure. So I'm going to say failure, and I'm going to go up here and create another custom error. And as always, I'm going to make it an enum, and I'm going to call it channel creation errors, right? And it's going to be of type error. Okay, in the first case, I'm just going to say no chat partners. Just keep it that simple and generic. That's it. So I'm going to throw the no chat partner error. So I'm going to say channel creation error dot no chat partner. Okay, so we have that first sort of edge case covered. The next thing I want us to do is now to, we need some sort of an ID, because if you remember when we jump into our pseudo editor that, we wrote some of our logic in the last couple of episodes, we need some sort of a channel ID, which is going to be child by auto ID. And so let's go right away and create just that. So I'm going to say the first thing actually before I do that is I'm going to go to our Firebase constants. A couple of episodes ago, we created this Firebase constants, which is underneath our utils folder. And I'm going to create another reference, and I'm going to call this reference channel. So I'm going to say static let channel ref. And channel ref is just going to be database reference child of channels. So a top level node called channel reference. But I'm not going to stop here. I need a message reference. So I'm just going to create that right now. And I'm going to call it message ref. And let's call it channel messages. Okay. And what else do we need? The next thing I would say we need some sort of a channel. We need a node that lets us know which specific channel a user actually belongs to. Because if you think about it, the way we currently have a lot of this logic set up, we need to be able to know which specific channel a specific member belongs to. And that's what we're going to be using to get all the specific, items inside of the channel tab screen. Because without that node, we would not really be able to know which specific channels a user belongs to. So we're going to create a channel here, and we're going to call it user channel ref. And let's just call it user channels. Guess we can make this an S, user channels ref, like plural. Messages ref, channels refs. Okay. And so we have a user channels ref. We also need some sort of an index, like we spoke about the other day, about, that lets us know which specific users a currently logged in user has a direct message to. And if we go back to our pseudocode, one of the specifications that we have for direct channels is we want it to be unique. And the only way we're going to be able to know if a direct channel already exists is if we have some sort of an index, some sort of a node in our backend. And we have some sort of a top level node that has a list of the current direct channels, that a specific user, has. And so we're going to create a reference for that as well. We're just going to call it user direct messages or user direct channels. Okay, and we're going to have database reference child of user direct channels. Okay, so I think we have the bulk of the things that we really need right now. So let's jump right back to our chat partner picker view model and start writing some code. So let's get the channel ID. And the channel ID is just going to be that child by auto ID concept that we spoke about. And it's just, we're going to use Firebase constants. We're going to use our channel ref, and we can access this thing called child by auto ID. And if you look at the documentation, it says it generates a new child location using a unique key. The keyword there is unique key. So it's going to give us a unique key. And we're just going to say child by auto ID, and we're going to access the key property. Okay. And so it's going to be an optional property. So that's why we are currently, unwrapping it. The second thing we want to unwrap actually is the current UID. We want to know what the currently logged in, we want to get the currently logged in user's UID. So we're going to say current UID is equals to auth, that's auth, the current user, the UID. And the last thing that we want to do is we need a unique message. So what I'm trying to do here is when a new channel is created, I want to broadcast some sort of what I call an admin message. And so the way that is going to work is when we go to our simulator, we could like just imagine when we select this chat partner picker screen, and let's say we select QA user 5, the minute that we go into this new chat room screen, I want to broadcast some sort of an admin message that says, hey, this new channel, was just created. And so in order to do that, I need some sort of a message ID. And that's also going to be Firebase constants. And it's going to be the message ref, and it's going to be the child by auto ID as well. We're going to get the key property. Now, we can exit out of the scope if for any reason none of these functions exist. So I'm going to create a new error up here as well, and I'm just going to say case failed to get IDs. Or maybe failed to create IDs. Failed to create unique IDs. Okay. So let's go right back down and let's return that error. So I'm going to say channel creation error, failed to create unique ID. Okay, so we have our channel ID, we have our current user ID, and we have a message ID. The next thing that we need to do is start populating, start storing this channel data item in our backend. And for us to do that, we need a couple of these keys. Like for example, we need the name key, we need the last message key. And while we could do that just using a magic string, and here's what I mean by that. We could just start creating a channel dictionary like this, and make sure it's of type string to any. And of course, open up our dictionary and start passing in the key value pairs. And so we can say the name is equals to the channel name that is passed in from the parameter of this function. But I don't like using magic strings like that personally. And I would prefer for us to just do what we did in the last episode, which is create static properties. That sort of handles that for us. So I'm going to extend the string, and I'm just going to create static lets for each of these properties. So I'm going to speed through this, and I'll have you guys pause it at the end and copy what I just wrote. And that's our list of key value properties for now. And so let's jump back to our chat partner picker view model and start using those keys. And so the first thing we need to store is, of course, the ID. So I'm going to come right up here and I'm going to say .id. Actually, that is, do we have an ID up here? I'm just going to do ID up here. Do a static ID as well. Oh, that needs to be a let. Okay, so I'm just going to say ID, and the ID is going to be the channel ID. Okay, and so last message is going to be empty because this is the first message we're creating. It's a broadcasted message. The creation date is going to be, we need a timestamp. So I'm going to create a timestamp up here. And the way to create a timestamp is just to say timestamp is date, and let's use time since 1970, and that's going to give us a time interval. So we're going to pass in a timestamp. And let's see, so we have the creation date. We want the last message timestamp. So the last message timestamp is going to be the same timestamp as the creation date. And then we want, so we have the last message, we have the creation date, we have the last message timestamp, the members user ID, so the members UIDs. So how do we get the member UIDs? Well, quite simply, we're just going to use a compact map to pull out all of the UIDs from this chat partner, this selected chat partners array. Because remember, the user item has a UID property. So I'm going to say var members UID is, selected chat partners. We want to make sure it's a compact map, right? We don't want any null value in there. So I'm just going to say $UID, and that's going to give us an array of the UIDs. The other thing I want to do is I want to append the current UID to this, right? Because I want the current UID to be part of the members UID for a specific channel. So I'm going to pass that right here. It's members UIDs. All right, so what's the next thing we want? Well, we want the members counts, and that's quite simple. We can just say members UID, members UIDs. I want to make that an S, it's plural, members UIDs, dot count, okay? The last bit is we need our admin UIDs. So an admin UID is just an array of UIDs. And for now, let's just use the current user's ID as the initial admin, because when we're creating a direct channel, it's going to be the current user. And eventually when we're creating a group channel, we can let's just use that for now. We can eventually come back and add some more logic to that. So, okay, we have our channel dictionary set up. And this is really the reason why I like to use those status keys, because I could just reuse this, this across the different code base. For example, when I'm querying, and I don't have to worry about, mistakenly passing in the wrong key. For example, you can easily have name instead of, lowercase name. So it's very helpful, and I just like doing it that way. So we have our channel dictionary. And back to business. The next thing I would like for us to do is we want to also actually pass in the channel name, but only if the channel name is not nil. So I'm going to say channel name is equals to channel name, right? So I'm going to say channel dictionary, the name, and I'm going to pass in this channel name that I just unwrapped. Okay. The other thing I want to make sure is I would actually like to be sure that this is not empty or nil. And the way for me to do that is I'm going to create a extension on string. So let's go inside of our extensions folder, or do we have an extensions folder yet? I can't remember if we've created one yet. So let's see, we have a service. Let's close our screens. We do not have an extensions folder yet. So right under our utilities, let's just create a new folder. Just going to call it extensions. And I am going to extend string. So I'm just going to call it string plus extensions. So extension, string. And what I want is I want to create some sort of a property that makes sure that, we have this is empty property, but I want to make sure it's not just empty, and also make sure it's not white space either. And it's just going to be a Boolean. And I'm going to return trimming character in white spaces and new lines. And now I'm going to check if it's empty. Okay, so let's go back to our chat partner picker view model. And so the other thing that I want to do here is not only do I want to unwrap that channel name, again, I want to make sure that that channel name is not empty or nil. So I'm going to say channel name, and I'm going to say channel name dot is empty or white space. It's not empty or white space. Okay, so if it's not empty or white space, we're going to pass in that channel name into our channel dictionary. All right, so I think we have a lot of the things that we need. The other thing I would like for us to do now is to save these things to the backend. And the first thing for us to do is we need to create a couple of, we need to think of what do we need to store. So first off, we need to store it in the channel reference. So I'm going to say Firebase constants, channel ref, and we're going to pass in the channel ID because that's going to be the primary key. And what do we need to store? Well, we need to store the channel dictionary. So we're going to pass in the channel dictionary right there. The other thing that we need to also store is the admin message. So I'm going to say messages ref. Okay, and the child is going to be the channel ID. That's going to be the primary ID. And then we're going to have the unique ID for that specific message. And again, remember, this message is just the admin messages that broadcast that a new channel has been created. And I'm going to set the value. I'm going to create a message dictionary here. I'm going to say message dictionary, and as well, it's going to be string as key and any as value. So for now, I'm going to say type. I'm using magic string for now, but I'm going to fix that in a little bit. So I want a timestamp. I'm going to come back to this. I want a timestamp to be of type timestamp. And I also want an owner UID. So messages are generally going to have some sort of a pointer that lets us know who created that message. So the owner UID in this instance is going to be the current user ID. So we have a messages dictionary, we have a type, we have our owner UID, and the type is going to be what? You know what? We'll come back to this. I promise we're going to come back to this. This is not going to make sense now. It's going to make sense in the upcoming episode. So let's actually remove this message ID from here as well. So I'm going to remove this message ID, remove that array, remove that comma. Okay, let us remove this for now. Let's just remove this for now. We're going to come back to that. Sorry for the confusion. So the other thing we need is we need to store it in the user message ref. So I'm going to say Firebase constants, user channels ref. So, which specific channel does a user have? We're going to use the current user ID as the primary key, and then we're just going to store the channel ID and set the value to true. Okay. What else do we need? Well, we want to do that for all of the currently logged in users. So this is not just going to be for the current UID. So let's just create it for each on the member user ID. So we're going to say member UIDs for each user ID. We're going to take this, paste it here. So for each user ID, store this channel ID, because all we're doing here is we're just keeping an index of the channel that a specific user belongs to. Okay, so what else do we need to do? We have our user channel ref, we have our channels ref, and we also need something to be able to store direct channels that a user belongs to. And so since this episode is on direct channels, we're going to do just that. So we're going to do Firebase constants the direct channel, user direct channels. And again, we're going to do the user ID, we're going to do the child, we're going to do the channel ID, and we're going to set the value to true as well. And again, this right here, So let me put a little bit of documentation here. This makes sure, we know which channels a user belongs to, regardless of whether they're direct channels or group channels, because again, this is the data sets, this user channels ref. This is the node that is going to be power this screen here, this channel tab screen. Meanwhile, this user direct channels, this is the node that makes sure that a specific direct channel is unique. Because before we're going to create any user direct channels, we're going to first validate that that channel ID doesn't belong or doesn't exist inside of this index. And so let's keep going. So we have given an index of the, let me change that documentation. So make sure that a direct channel is unique. I hope that makes sense. I know there's a lot going on here and it might look a little bit confusing, but just hang around, guys. So I think that's pretty much what we need for now. And then I'm just going to create a new channel here. So I'm going to do new channel and channel item. But the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure a channel item can actually take in a dictionary. So let's jump into our channel item, shall we? Inside of our channel item, we're going to create an extension on it and do some, key value conversions. So I'm going to do extension on channel item. And I'm going to create an init block that takes in a dictionary of key value pair of string to any. And then I'm going to, do those mappings. So I'm going to say self.id is equals to, check the dictionary for a key of ID. And I know that key of ID is going to be of type string. If it doesn't exist, just return an empty string for now. This is going to work. Don't worry, guys. So I'm just going to speed through this, and I'm going to have you guys pause the video and copy what I'm currently writing. Okay, guys, and so that's pretty much it for the key mappings. So I added this other static property called members, and all we're just doing is we're looking into the dictionary, pulling out the value and assigning it to the value of the actual channels. And so I'm going to have you guys pause the video and sort of, copy this code and make sure it matches everything. And with that being done, we're going to jump right back to our channel partner picker view model and, complete this process. So back in the channel partner picker view model, I'm going to create a new channel that takes in a dictionary. And as you can guess, I'll just pass in the channel dictionary right here. And so what am I going to do with this new channel? Well, the intention is to return that as the success, and it's just going to be the new channel item. So I'm just going to call it new channel item. New channel item. Okay, so for the significant portion of this video, we are pretty much done with everything that we need. Now we just need to call this, create a channel function here. And I know I said I was going to, expose this as I was going to lock this as a private method. But for this episode, let's just keep it as a, publicly accessible method. And let's jump into our chat partner picker screen. So we're going to go into our chat partner picker screen. And in here, right where we are actually creating a new channel using this using this closure, this onCreate closure. So instead of just doing onCreate, we're going to do view model.create channel, and it's going to ask for the channel name. We're just going to pass in a nil because this is a direct channel, right? And we know it's going to return us a channel. So I'm going to say channel item. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to do onCreate, pass in that channel item. Okay, actually this does, before we do that, let's call this channel create channel. And so this is going to require some switch statement because we have the results type. So we're going to say channel switch create channel. So the success is the channel item. Okay, and let's leave the error state for now. So I'm going to pass this. I'm going to call the onCreate closure inside of our success message. And let's just print here. Let's just print here. Failed to create channel. Error.localized description. Well, failure. Let's just change this to error.localized description. Come on. All right, so the plan is eventually we're going to show some sort of an alert error here. So this is not just going to be a print statement, but we're going to handle that in the upcoming episode. So let us run this on our simulator, make sure all of our logic is working as expected. And the next thing for us to do after running it is we're also going to check our backend to make sure all of those different nodes are being populated. So let us go and check let's go and create a new channel. Let's start a new channel with, I'm looking for QA user 1, if I can find it. Do we not have QA user 1? Yes, right here. So let's create a new channel with QA user 1. Remember, this is a direct channel. So let's go. Oh, it says failed to create channel. The operation could not be completed. Why is that? So let us try it with QA user 11. that is also failing. So there's something going on with our with our chat partner picker view model create channel logic. And the best way for us to figure that out is, oh, actually, that is true. It's because, we're guiding against the selected chat partners. And so the quickest fix for us is to go right above the create channel logic. We're just going to say view model dot selected chat partners dot append. And what are we appending? We're going to append the user. So let me make sure I expand Xcode all the way. And the reason that is throwing an error, guys, is because if we go back to the chart partner picker view model, as you can see, we're guarding against it here. We want to make sure we actually have a chart partner. But we're going to fix that in the upcoming episode. That is kind of a flawed logic. So let's run this for now, and let's just make sure everything is working so we could be done with this episode. Okay. So let's go to our channel tab screen. Let's go to our picker screen. Let's create a new channel with QA user 1. Voila, we have a new channel, guys. And how are we going to know that? Well, let's validate that. Let's jump to our backend. Let's refresh. Oh, look at that. We have a channel. We have a channel node. Look at that. We have our admins, which is our currently logged in user. We have our member UIDs, right? And we have our user channels, which is where we're going to know the specific channel that a user belongs to. And we have our user direct channels. And remember, this is the index. This node is sort of how we know if a direct channel already exists. So that's it for this episode. I know it's sort of getting long. In the next episode, we are going to continue this process and finish out the direct channel and go to the group channel creation. I hope you guys are having fun as much as I am. Please leave a like and subscribe button. It means the world to me. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.